What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Retire Ready podcast. My name is Colin. I'm here with Kyle. Kyle, how you doing today?
Doing well. Excited to go over this podcast today. Our office is based here in Overland Park, Kansas, so it's getting a little hotter here. We're getting a lot of rain lately, but I know most of you out there are itching to kind of get out and enjoy the summer. So, Colin, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, today we're going to talk about investing in near and in retirement. And when we say near, we're talking about 5 to 10 years to retirement. But we're going to focus a lot of this podcast today on the investing side of this, the near and in retirement. So, Kyle, what does investing, near and in retirement look like?
So we're going to talk about going up the mountain. So most of you look at kind of, okay, here's what we got. Accumulation phase, going up the mountain. Most of you is 10, 20, 30, 40 years of savings, employer contributions, and then riding out stock markets. And now we're going to talk about the decumulation phase, or approaching retirement 5 to 10 years out. Should I always be doing the same thing? Should I be more conservative? Like, what's that look like? And so first of all, we're going to talk about naked investing. Naked investing is pretty common. It's just like most people have no idea why they invest as they do. They just kind of slap some funds together, or they're paying somebody to grow their money, and they don't really need it yet, so they're going to invest it for growth, and the markets go up long term. So hey, it looks like it's doing its thing right, or all my money's in my employer plans, and I just randomly picked the funds with the highest 10-year average returns. So most people have no idea why they invest as they do, and I can firmly say this because I sit down with talk with people every week, and I've talked with hundreds and hundreds of people, and like I kind of ask them, like, what's your approach? Why is this here? So most people have no idea why they invest as they do. They have no idea if they're going to outlive their money. Hence why most baby boomers actually work longer than they financially have to, is because they don't know the math and they don't have financial plans in place. And their number one fear is running out of money. And then number three is those 1 and 2 cause you sleepless nights. So the goal is to get peace of mind when you do planning and investments and taxes and all this stuff. Is like, you don't want the stock markets really dictating your moods. So hey, the markets are doing really well right now. We're in May 2024. We're in a baby bull market. Everything's great. You're happy, but that can only last for so long. And then a bear market comes, and then you're losing sleep at night. You got a bear market before you retired, or you got it right when you retired. So that's what naked investing is. There's no real thought out philosophy. There's no plan. It's just throwing stuff against the wall and hoping it sticks, and letting the markets move your money up and down. And then next, we're going to talk about the hard way, which we don't want to do. Investing's not easy, but there's things you can do that will make it harder than it needs to be. So the first one is, like, I have individuals out there, maybe you're one of them listening here or watching, and you watch hours of financial programs and read every website and article and trying to get that crystal ball out there to try to make some moves. And it's basically like you make constant changes to your portfolio in hopes like you can make changes before everybody else knows what to do. At the end of the day, it's like you know the news before the news knows the news, and so you're actively in there making moves. You close your eyes and you hope you did it right, which at the end of the day is a strategy in itself. And so when we're talking about accumulation, we're approaching retirement, we got to focus on the return of the money. The next thing we're going to do is, I always ask people, like, what would the perfect investment look like? Let's take a step back. We're not trying to get sold something here. So what would the perfect investment look like to you? Well, Kyle, I never want to lose my gains. I go, great. It's pretty common. Like, you never want to lose money. And I would ask that individual, Colin, where would you go if you want your principal guaranteed, where you're guaranteed never to lose? Do you have any ideas where you would go?
I'd head to an annuity salesman.
There's one option. The other option is you could go to your local bank that you use and park it in their checking, savings, and CDs, and they'll guarantee it that you'll never lose any gains. Okay? Number two is you want guaranteed income for life. You want a in contract that your monthly income will be there every month for the rest of your life as long as you're living. Okay? There's only one place that will give you that in a contract guarantee, which is going to be an annuity. Again, you just kind of have to be cautious of what type of annuity you will be buying. There's fixed index, variable. My professional opinion is about 90% of them are weapons of mass destruction. 10% of them are really great if you use them correctly. Again, what type of guarantees do you want? Social Security is an annuity in and of itself. Next is, well, Kyle, I want my money to be all 100% liquid just in case. Just in case I need it all tomorrow or the day after, even though we just built a plan out till age 94. Just in case I need it all tomorrow. I go, great. If you want your money to be 100% liquid, put it in your checkings and savings, and they'll give that to you. Okay? Another place you can keep all of your money in individual stocks or ETFs and index funds. You should be able to get that money. It's not 100% liquid, but you can get it after you trade it within a business day or two. The next is, Kyle, I need double-digit returns. Like, obviously, the perfect for investments is I'm going to outperform the markets over the next 30 years. I go, great. You might get lucky. There are some options that could potentially do that for you. But your financial plan and retirement plan that gets built out shouldn't say, well, based upon your goals and your spending and what you have and when you're taking Social Security, you also need 12% returns in retirement to stay retired and maintain your lifestyle. I would probably tell that people as a professional and a planner not to retire because, one, you're going to be spending too much and you don't have enough saved. So double-digit returns, you can get them. Or, Kyle, I'm getting 18% in my 401k right now. I go, well, we just did some math here, and you're putting in 8%. Your employer's matching 4%. There's 12% right there. It looks different in retirement. The last one would be just tax efficient. The perfect investment better include tax efficiency. I go, when's the last time anybody's walked through like Target and walked through that tax efficient aisle, and you buy some of that magical fairy dust and you sprinkle it on your money? It does not exist. Tax efficiency it's a planning, it's a strategy, you're making decisions. And then from an investment perspective, there are certain places you can't put your money that are more tax efficient than others. So like making sure Roth accounts are invested properly, your taxable brokerage accounts are tax efficiently invested, maybe not in mutual funds or funds in general because you can't control the tax returns, and then making sure like IRAs are invested properly. So there's a tax efficient way where certain ways of what you put your money in and instruments could potentially slow you down because of the extra tax burden that it's creating. So here's three characteristics here that every investment in general is going to have. Okay, so protection, liquidity, and growth. Every investment that's out there for the most part is going to give you two of those three characteristics. So if you're going to talk about protection and liquidity, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the bank, right? You're going to give up growth, okay? If you're going to go equities, the stock market, which I firmly believe 100% is probably the primary option, if you do it right, is you're going to have growth and liquidity, but you're giving up protection. There's nothing that guarantees 100% that you can't protect your money from up and down markets. And then depending on what type of annuities you buy, you might get a little bit of all three, one of the three or two of the three. So we're not going to spend too much time banging on annuities, but just understand like no investment gives you all three, okay? It does not exist. Next is if you're going to, basically now you got to make these decisions if you're that pre-retiree or just retired. And you're like, all right, am I going to keep doing this myself, which you DIY it, which is great, right? As long as you know what you're doing and you're making good decisions. But the other percentage of people are like, well, this is too important to do alone. I don't know what I don't know. I don't truly know if I'm optimizing my returns and my tax planning. I need to work with somebody. I go, great. First of all, do you understand that not all financial advisors are created equal? Not all tax planning is created equal. Hopefully if you're a podcast or a YouTube watcher, you understand like there are firms out there that say, hey, we do tax planning, but they actually do not do tax planning. Not all investments planning and tax planning is equal. So we're going to summarize these because we have a different podcast where we really talked about this. Number one is that they ignore your biggest problem you face. So again, the lack of tax planning will ultimately be the taxes you could have paid versus the taxes you did pay. The goal in tax strategy and planning is how can you lower your cumulative long-term tax bill? Hey, this plan says if you do it like this, estimated if you live another 25 to 30 years, you're going to pay $680,000 in federal taxes. Here's a couple other ways you could do some tax strategies: order of withdrawals, claim Social Security, and your tax bill would be roughly about $500,000. You can legally, lower your fair share by $180,000 to $200,000. Again, the goal is to minimize the taxes paid over your lifetime. So they're completely ignoring your biggest expense. Number two, there's no plan for investing in or near retirement. Like it hasn't been brought up. There's no strategy like, hey, we're just gonna, as we get closer to retirement, we're just going to be more conservative. Okay, so that's something to look out for. They might be a disguised advisor. Their main focus is on just gathering assets and throwing you in a model. So really you have to focus on someone who's going to get you down the mountain and brings value and show you how to spend your money, withdraw your money, save on taxes, all that fun stuff. Next, we're going to talk about stock markets. Primarily, this is where you're invested. This is how you accumulated your assets. So hopefully we all know, listening and watching, stock markets go up and down. Okay, so we had 2022 brought you down, 2023 and 2024 are bringing you back up. It's like a roller coaster. At the end of the day, you're going to be waiting in line. You need to decide what type of ride do you want on this roller coaster. What does your money need to do, and what type of ride do you want to get to that end result? And I always tell people I'm a big believer in like showing you charts and behavioral finance. Anybody who really thinks they can get like equity type returns without experiencing any volatility has really not looked at market history. So, Kyle, when's the stock market going to get back to normal? Well, this is normal. The volatility and the returns you're getting are normal. At the end of the day, it is part of the deal. If you want equities, I want stock market like returns. Volatility is going to be part of that deal. And while it's very uncomfortable at times, historically, it has been worth the discomfort 100% of the time. 100% of the time, equities have been worth it as long as you can ride out those uncomfortable times. If you want more stability and less, you want more comfort, you obviously add in some bonds. Again, there's different types of bonds you could use. And then the last is going to be cash. So just having a general perspective, like what's realistic. Again, compared to the past, like markets weren't very volatile. There was more, there's still bear markets and drawdowns, but like today's ride is the last 20 years. You have your highs and your lows, and it's technology is moving, like people are on their phones and there's people manipulating the stock markets. We just have news and headlines more rapidly where people are making decisions a lot faster, making the markets move up and down faster. So let's just kind of summarize here. So we have bulls and bear markets. Some data since like 1942, provided here by First Trust, and just having a perspective on markets. So a bear market, which you just experienced in 2022, the average bear market's going to last about 11.1 months, so let's just round up. It's going to average, it's going to, on paper, it's going to last about 12 months. And the cumulative pullback is about 31.7%. Okay? So you have to have perspective of that. How long is it going to last? It will happen. You're going to have 8, 10, 12, 15 of these the rest of your life if you live another 30 years. However, the bull markets, the average bull market's going to last around 4 years, and the cumulative return's about 148%. So we can look at the charts, understand we're going to go backwards a little faster, right? The minus 31% is going to happen quicker. And the 148% return will happen. It's just going to take more time. So the question is, how do you buy the time? Can you afford the 31% drops? From an investment perspective, you really just need to understand how much risk can you afford to take on, and then what does your money need to? What type of performance and returns do you need for your plan to have the highest success rates? Okay. The last thing we're going to finish up today is like talking about math. So minus 30 plus 43 equals 0. You're like, what the heck are you talking about, Kyle? I go, if Kyle put $100,000 or you put $100,000 in the NASDAQ or the QQQ fund or something like that in 2022, you're down about 30%, so you had $70,000. The following year, NASDAQ recovers, goes up 43%, or the QQQ goes up 43%. You're back to your $100,000, okay? So you would say, well, I didn't do anything. My average rate of return is 0. So what you would do is you're going to take minus 30 plus 43. That equals 13. Divided by 2 years, you average 6.5%. So the idea is you need to understand the math. What does your money need to do? So if you're using average rates of returns to make projections, hey, what's this average 6% retirement? Be more conservative, pull out 4 to 5%. At the end of the day, anytime there's a negative in the markets, you need to throw out the average rates of returns. You need to understand the math so you can make better investment decisions. And you need to understand, like, markets will go down, markets will go up. When the market drops 40, you need 67. At the end of the day, like, what's the strategy here in retirement, if that happens, or near retirement, and how much time do you have to wait to get back that 67%? So that's kind of where I want to leave off the podcast here today, is just talking about investment strategies in and near retirement. We will touch more upon this next week, maybe talking about 2000 to 2010 and then 2010 to 2022, and kind of looking at different market scenarios and withdrawals. But we just kind of want to kind of do the 101 investing in and near retirement.
Yeah,
today.
so we spent the last few weeks, if you haven't listened to those or watched those episodes, talking about a tax-efficient retirement plan. Now kind of moving into the investing side of things, investing near and in retirement. Kyle, any lasting words?
No, just again having a market perspective and understanding if you want equity-like returns, which most people that I talk to do, you have to understand that there will be uncomfortable times. And the question comes down to what type of risk can you afford to take on, because we don't know if we're going to go backwards or upwards, like what's going to happen the rest of the year in 2025. And just making sure you're invested properly with the amount of risk you can afford to take on while still achieving the returns that you need to give you the highest success rate.
Yeah, well, perfect. Well, that's the episode on investing in and near retirement. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Retire Ready with Kyle Hammerschmidt. Planning your retirement starts now. The word retirement shouldn't scare you. Our passion is to be here to help you navigate every step of the way. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, for more education and information, hit up retirereadyacademy.org. And if you're ready to start your retirement planning today, go to our website at mocanwealth.com. Mocan Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the state of Kansas and Missouri and may only transact business with residents of those states or residents of other states where otherwise legally permitted, subject to exemption or exclusion from registration requirements. This communication is not intended as an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any financial instrument or investment advisory services.